Hello, beautiful people. Today is another day I get to share a vlog about the activities here in my small farm at home. Yes, so these are Nola chicks from Emoha Victory Farm. So look at the Neolas. They're looking really nice and good, very healthy. There's not been any record of mortality on these birds since I brought them. Today I'm sharing a vlog of what I'm doing this morning in the farm and some of the activities that went down some days ago. So this is another means of getting you guys to get to learn and understand how to run your poultry farm. So here's one of the things I don't like about using this particular drinker. You see all these dirt that now tend to come inside their pool messes with the water. So what I do occasionally is to remove all of this dirt inside of it like this, you see. So the same thing with the feeder. You can see the feeder. One thing you know is that they don't consume much, so I tend not to give them too much of feed, so I don't mess with it. So you see this one that we are seeing that it's messed up like this is because there was a light out quite early for them last night, so because of that they were not able to feed properly. So occasionally I do remove these dirt from their feeders so that it gives them more space for them to feed properly. So these are one of the things I do occasionally when I get to the farm. I get to observe them, observe their poo. See these birds, they are doing amazingly well. There's not been any mortality on these birds. Today is the 8th day in this bed. Today is the 8th day in this farm. Yes, today is the 8th day. They arrived here 8 days ago at night in the evening hours. So although I don't usually count that first day they arrive as a day one, because that's the day they came from the hatchery, and basically that's the day they haven't hatched. So most times I don't usually count that day. You see this other one, the feed is already messed up. So I tend to remove most of these litters that went inside of the feed so that they can get more space to feed properly. Okay. So one of the things that we do caring for our farm animals. So what I will do, I'll then add this one to this, so that I just keep only one feeder for there, so I don't mess it up too many containers. So here they are. So I'm keeping the feed here because later in the day I'm going to cover this area with zinc to give them more warmth. The essence of still covering the zinc is to give them more warmth. But why I'm opening it up right now is that the weather is quite warm now. It's a sunny day right now. Although the sun this period is not to be trusted, because we are in the Niger Delta's area, it can rain at any time. We are in tropical rainforest region, which rain can come at any time. So here are the broilers. These broilers are Arboica broilers from the same hatchery with the Nolas, Emoha Victory Farm here in River State. So these guys are doing very well. There has not been any mortality. And one of the things I did, I carefully make sure I did this to make them to be very much okay, was one, management of the litter. So you see this litter here, this is wood shaving. I was just reminiscing on some of the mistakes I made when I started out poultry farming. So those days I used to use a sack bag to spread on the floor for the oats, because I knew that I can't use sawdust on the floor. So I used the nylon bags. I didn't know about wood shavings then, or where to get them, because where to get them they are quite scarce. It's quite a scarce commodity here in this part of the world, wood shavings. So I used to use the bags, the feed bags. I'll just spread it on the floor and they'll just pour on it. I'll be cleaning. Sometimes I clean morning and evening, morning and evening, morning and evening, which was quite stressful and also makes the birds to come down on coccidosis. But when I now watch some videos, I now realize that wood shaving is the thing that you can use from the old. See, when they get bigger, that's even the best for a poultry farm. Then I switch. I make sure that I get this wood shaving, especially during brooding period. Then maybe afterwards I switch to sawdust. So, but the advantage of this wood shaving is that it absorbs more. You're supposed to make it thick, but in my own case, why I didn't make it thick, I just splashed them on the surface lightly. Is because my pen has some spots that do leak, and secondly, I'm using a nipple drinker that sometimes there might be a case whereby one of the lines might be leaking or somewhere might be leaking. So I tend to play smartly about it by spreading the wood shavings very light on the surface. Then what I do afterwards, when the thing gets messed up, I tend to spread more gradually, add more on the surface. So like you can see here right now, this litter, it feels a bit wet, it feels a bit dirty, you know, because one of the things that causes your beds to come down on coccidiosis is when the litter, their stool is more on the litters. So they tend to now pick food residues on the floor, or maybe try to pick up some things, some parts of the litter that seems like their food. In that process, they get to pick their own stool alongside, which is not a good thing for the health status. So on these beds, what I did was I gradually spread wood shavings on the floor like almost every night. On areas where I feel that those areas were a bit messy, I get to spread new wood shavings on those sections. And then the advantage of spreading those wood shavings also made these beds to be warmed, because I use heat for just the first, was it the first 2 days? I mean first 3 days. Let's say the first 2 days. On the third day, yes, let's say the first 3 days, that's when I use heat. So on the third day, I removed the heat. It was very low, save on the third day. So, but what I made sure that I did was I made sure I spread the wood shavings, like I said, on the floor, especially the areas where I know that the bed stayed more, because I noticed that the bed stayed more on these sections close to the wall there, onto this area. So I always make sure that even down to this part, they always stay around this area. So at night they stay there, because I cover most part of it with the zinc, so that when those areas that are being covered, it will help to generate some warmth, because they are in a enclosed small space. So they will get more warmth from themselves with a small space. So that's why I make sure that the floor where they are resting on is dry. So because when the floor is dry, there's every tendency that they will stay dry and warmed. So like it is right now, this morning, what I did this morning, I had to till this litter a little bit. Yes, it's looking a little bit messed up. So but stay with me while I will just try to spread some of the fresh litter on some areas, some specific areas again, so as to make these guys to stay warm all day. Because this is an approach that I did to make sure that these birds are okay. But before I usually do this, I make sure I take off the feeders, the feeding trough, so that it doesn't get to mess on it while I'm spreading that stuff inside of it. So stay with me while I try to do that. So I've been spreading this stuff on areas where I know that they spend most of their time. So you see, around this region, I spread it around to make sure that they stay dry. So you see the difference between the new one and the one that is old. So this helps them to stay fresh and healthy. A good litter management routine will help your birds to stay healthy. Now, coccidiosis and typhoid is one of the things that affects broiler poultry beds a lot because of litter management. Because you know, broilers stool a lot. Yes, they eat a lot, so there's everything they say they will stool more. You know, that's why people say, once you just pick up a broiler, before you know it, they start pooing. Because they eat a lot, so there's everything they say that they will poo a lot. So the way you manage their litter will really help them a long way. Will help their general hygiene. And once your farm is hygienic, you will do exceptionally well. So one of the advantages I have with my litter is that I use a nipple drinker. So the nipple drinker also helps these litters to be more dry. Then another thing again I'm going to be mentioning to you guys is what we call humidity. Humidity is, how will I explain what humidity is? But the flow of ventilation in your pen will also help humidity, and that humidity is what is going to also help your bed and your litter. You know, the more they pour on the floor, ammonia gas will tend to build up. So, but the humidity level will help that ammonia gas to be off. So that's why you need your pen to be ventilated. Even if you're brooding, you need your beds to stay warm. We try to give them ventilation too as well. So if you watch my previous video about the way I set up the space for brooding, you'll notice that I allowed some air ventilation inside of it when I even covered the whole space, because I use stove as my source of heat, and this stove do generate smoke. So you need to give some space where air will pass through, or that smoke will go out through, so that your beds do not come down to CROD too early. So it's always good for you to give your bed some level of ventilation, even when you're brooding. You make the place to be warm, but not too airy that it will cause drought. So this is one of the routines I do to make these guys to stay fresh. So you see, that tiny spread will also help that areas for them to stay dry. See? So I did the same thing here for the Nolas yesterday. I poured in some dry litters over here. So their litters is not really messed up. You know, these guys do not consume more, so they do not pull like the brothers. If you even look at their sizes, the growth rate is not usually the same. The broilers grow faster than the Nolas. So these two birds came in the same day from the hatchery. You see, their sizes, the broilers are much bigger than the Nolas, like you can see. Oh, the camera is not doing justice to this. So the Nolas do not grow the same pace with the broilers. So, but the Nolas are definitely growing. They are definitely doing well. This is not how they were when they came in here. So that's it. So these guys are not on the antibiotics today. I'll be vaccinating them tomorrow. So you can look at their water. Their water level is low, but this is clean, plain water. So I'll be topping this water for them so that they don't run out of water in the middle of the day. So these guys are doing amazingly well. So what I'll do next is to place their feet inside this space. So right now, these guys are feeding on Breedwell starter feed. So this is Breedwell starter feed that I'm giving to these guys. So their feet are already placed for them. So one more thing I have to share with you guys today is about how to make your beds to grow even. Because I had some friends complain to me about their beds not growing evenly, especially from a particular hatchery. But from my experience as a farmer, I know that one of the things that causes beds not to grow evenly is the numbers of feeders and drinkers you have in your pen. Because if your feeders are few, there's every tendency the stronger ones will be having more access to feed than the weaker ones. So therefore, the stronger ones will be bigger than the smaller ones, the weaker ones. So there's every tendency that some of them will be smaller than the others. So like you can see here, I tried to make the feeders to be enough for them. Like you can see here, I think their feed was almost out. Was out before I came in to check on them. So that's why you see this quick rush of feed. So, but even with the quick rush, I also make sure that the feeders are enough for them to go all around. So you just have some few ones that are just lazing around here. So, but all of them have access to feed simultaneously. So there's no one that's left behind. And if you look at these birds very well, I took a careful examination of them yesterday. I realized that they were more even in sizes than even the previous one I've done, because of the feeders were enough for them. So like this particular batch, they are quite few. because of the last batch that I did, so I stocked in lots of beds. So because of that, I had to get more feeders. So because of that extra feeders, I now have more that can go around for these guys. So you can see here, they are all doing well. You know, they are feeding. They are quite quiet now. So I think this will be the end of today's vlog. If you're new to this channel, please do well to subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe. And you're watching this far, I believe you like what you're seeing. So please smash the like button to help this channel grow more, to reach out to more people, so that they'll get to learn what you are learning right here. So thanks guys for watching this far, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.